About a year ago, I attended a milestone high school reunion. In fact, I said a few words at this high school reunion. I won't tell you how many years have gone by, but it's been quite a few years since I graduated from high school. As I was there and hanging out with friends from high school and talking about the good old days, if you will, I was reflecting on the state of mind that I was in during high school. And I began to think about this whole idea of goal setting and just getting a perspective of time. What can be accomplished in short periods of time, what can be accomplished in long periods of time. Reflecting back on when I was in high school, my big desire was to get out there in the workforce and to make some progress in my career, to make some progress financially, and to carve out a new life for myself because I had gone through a tough period during my teens. Now, as I reflected on this, and I was thinking about my junior and my senior years in high school, and you'll probably relate to this, it seemed like those goals, the idea of getting into college and getting to work and doing those things was so far away. Like, oh my goodness, what a distance I have to travel. And in particular, those last couple of years of high school, as I reflected on them, it just seemed like a long time that I had to be focused and diligent and really work hard to make sure that I got out successfully and was able to move on. But a funny thing happened. Just a few years later, 2-3 years later, I found myself in a wonderful position. I was employed, I was making money, I had my own apartment, I was really doing well, I had bought a new car, I was in a great career, and I was thinking about how did that happen, and are there some lessons to be learned in understanding not only the power of time, but somehow how we can distort time by assuming that it's going to take a really long time to get where we want to go, and sitting there thinking, my God, where I want to go is a long way away. That's how I felt back then. It was a long way away. And I think there were two things that made a big difference. And I see this with others as well. They may not interpret it this way or may not summarize it this way, but here's something I've noticed. You've heard the term laser focus. And it's a wonderful term because you can imagine it. It's like, okay, straight line, not looking anywhere else. And that's how I was during those years. I had laser focus in terms of the big picture that I wanted. The big picture was making a certain amount of money. There was a range, being settled in a certain way, achieving a certain status, if you will. So I was laser focused on that. The other thing that was significant was that with that laser focus, I had an appreciation of always the next milestone that would get me there. I think if you can remember these two things, goals that feel a long way away, no matter where you are, whether you're just getting started or whether you've been at it a long time, you can still make tremendous progress and have great success by being aware of those two things. The first thing is, what's the big thing I want, the big goal, the big thing that is really important to me? And that's important because some of the people that I knew back then, they didn't really have a big goal. Their idea was, well, let me just get in a better position. Let me just get in a better position, or let me see how this works. And all those things have their merit. But because I had a really clear goal, that put me in a place where I was evaluating every step I took in the context of getting me closer to that goal. And a miraculous thing happens. Things begin to unfold. Doors begin to open things begin to develop that push you toward that clear destination that you want. Now, the other thing are the milestones. The milestones means what's the very next thing that's going to happen. Well, the very next thing that would make a big difference might be going to a job interview if you're looking for a job, or it might mean launching a particular product, or it might mean developing a series of products. It might mean developing a marketing campaign if you're in business. It might mean mapping out the next 6 months. It might mean getting those early clients. You see, by being aware of the next major milestone, you don't drift. You're never in a place where you are just letting time pass and your progress is not meaningful. So I had those kinds of situations happen for me. I had, major interviews. I would get a job, and then the next thought was, okay, now I'm going to, look for an apartment. And, I need X amount to do that. Let me save the amount that I need to do that. And here are some other things that I want. Let me get that stuff in order. When you're young, you often will think in those terms because you really want to establish yourself. And then as you get older, you might lose touch with that idea and being really focused in that way. In fact, you might conclude that the best opportunities and the best chances to reach those milestones have passed, but they haven't passed. You can at any age make significant progress, impressive progress, much more than you could imagine if you know what you want. If you know what you want, and if you are aimed at what you want in your thinking, in your effort, in your contemplation, it's saying, okay, this is what I want. So I say you should identify that big thing, that big category, that big feeling of things that you want. Now, look, you can get specific, and it's wonderful to get specific. It's wonderful to map those things out and to have them on vision boards and goal lists and targets and all those things. But if you're not there yet, just figure out what that big feeling is, that big idea is. I'd like to have a country home. I'd like to have a place where I could operate my business out of this country home. I'm speaking for someone who might have this as a goal. And I want to be able to be there when my kids come home. I want to be able to travel a couple of times a year. You map out what it is that you want, what's important to you. And then you start to think about, well, what are those milestones? Well, maybe I need to start looking at geographic locations. Maybe I need to think about, do I need to be close to an airport? Do I need to be close to certain facilities and capabilities? Maybe I want to be in a college town so I can recruit young people to work with me. Whatever it is. The point here is that if you take that wide-angle view, and then you say, okay, what's the next step here? What's the next place to get to that wide-angle view? You'll get there faster than you can imagine. If it feels like your goals are far away, if it feels like you're far away from those goals, this might be a good strategy for you, a good way to get focused, laser focused on what it is you want to achieve and clear away the clutter so that you can get there, but not be overwhelmed about all the steps. And I'm telling you, you will get there faster than you can imagine. That's what happened with me. It's happened with others. They're not as far away as it seems. There are people out there, there are circumstances out there, there are alliances, relationships, companies, all sorts of needs, all sorts of people out there who can help you get there. So it's not as far away as you think. If you like this tip, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you like it. Share it with someone in your network. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and I'll see you next time.